Hello, I'm here to talk about Enscape content, and this particular content I'm dealing with is all of the people, all the entourage. Now, I've got a major issue in having this kind of geometry in our Revit files. It slows down performance, makes the files quite dramatically large, just for the sake of adding entourage. And rendering to screen is impacted. So what I've done is essentially make a little parametric man that you can pose into all the correct positions. And it looks okay in Revit, but the intent is not really to show it in Revit. The only reason I've really made this posable is so that you can, in Revit, place the entourage item that you want and know how it's going to come out in Enscape as far as its orientation, its height, and its general position. So if we have a look at it from the side, you can see we've got the essentially the side view, and the front view is able to generally align with the Enscape content. Anytime it's come to something like this, it's got two pieces in it. I've just ignored the second piece. Again, it's mostly just for accurately placing these. Seated objects, if they're carrying a bag, I haven't worried about that, or holding a newspaper or riding a bike. I've just left the additional geometry out. It's not really required to be able to place these nicely in Revit and understand their location relative to the rest of your geometry. So that was the purpose of making all of these. The way this is built is just a single family that's got a whole heap of subtypes, rather than the Enscape content that is a unique family for every single character. That becomes really important when it comes to file size. We also can't have this type of polymesh geometry showing up in our plans and elevations, as it just comes out as a bit of a garbled blob of lines. So the other content that I've made looks pretty reasonable in plans and elevations, should you choose to want to still represent them there. The file I've created is called Simple Enscape Person. It's only 720 kilobytes and contains all 71 characters available from Enscape at the time of printing. The shopping file above is just a project file with all of those loaded and placed in it, so that you can peruse them and copy them into your project should you want to. And the one above that that says do not use is all of the native Enscape assets placed in the same way. So you can see the difference. That's a whopping 40 meg as opposed to 2 meg. This is all of the native Enscape definitions extracted from the file, and you can see they add up to be quite big at 43 meg. Some of the individual files are over a meg just by themselves, so having a single file at 720 kilobytes is substantially more efficient. And the actual loading time, if you place all of the Enscape assets, is quite a while. It takes a minute and 3 to load. I've sped it up here for the sake of this video. And once they're loaded, you can see they generally look pretty good. We zoom in and have a quick fly past. You can see all the assets looking pretty snazzy. We should be quite happy with that as a result. We'll say when loading the project that only contains my family, it is quicker to load by about 10-15%. It does still have to load all of the Enscape geometry into Enscape when it's creating that scene, so it shouldn't have a massive impact on performance launching Enscape, but it will have a huge performance difference moving around and saving within Revit. And just a final demonstration here, just to illustrate that the assets that I've built and the assets coming straight from Enscape do turn out to look exactly the same. So you can see here I've got them all lined up side by side. They all look exactly the same as the same assets lined up side by side in Revit.